This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Godzilla, the now legendary Japanese monster movie from 1954, directed by Ishirō Honda. When a number of boats are mysteriously destroyed near a specific spot close to an island fishing village, followed by that village's destruction soon afterwards, reporters and government investigators work to discover its cause, learning all too quickly of the responsible culprit, Godzilla, a monstrous sea creature whose singular purpose almost seems to be to wreak havoc upon the land. As the government fights back and the people tend to their injured and displaced, a debate begins to form as to whether or not it is worth studying Godzilla or destroying him outright. Meanwhile, a reclusive scientist may have the means to accomplish the latter, but fears that the power that would be unleashed may be as dangerous as the monster itself, should it be weaponized. As you can guess, this movie is a far cry from just about every pop culture depiction of Godzilla these days. The movie deals more with the greater trauma and destruction of Godzilla than it revels in it, not only being more about the human victims of the world, but also becoming a clearly allegorical story. It's no surprise that it references World War II at several points, both explicitly and through deeper parallels within the story and its characters. Not so much about war itself, perhaps, but certainly being unafraid to show the pain and grief that they cause. Godzilla himself doesn't appear all that much, likely an intentional choice as the movie sees him as little more than a mindless force of destruction. He simply exists, and while the movie does look into it once or twice, the primary question isn't so much where he came from, but how to stop him. Of course, it's not also simply a question of stopping Godzilla the monster, but the raw atomic power that he also represents. The final key to stopping him is also an allegory for that power, as it is both a tool that can end the terror, but also spark a whole new wave of destruction. It's an endless cycle of death, and there never seems to be any winning moves. That may sound dramatic, but it's easier to believe that thanks to the special effects on display. Godzilla's rampages through Tokyo, which would become a hallmark of monster attack films later on, are portrayed rather more harrowingly here. While the seams are still visible, there's still a concerted effort to make it feel real, or at least causing real damage upon others. There's still a guy in a monster suit, but cinematography does help to mask the models and sets from appearing too unreal, and allowing you to take in the damage being caused. Editing is also put to excellent use as it cuts between these effects and miniatures, and the live actors caught up in the mayhem. Outside of these scenes, the cinematic construction does a lot to put the aftermath on display with as much clarity as possible. The film deftly illustrates the horrors of nuclear warfare, the destruction and death that it brings, and the tragedies that can affect an entire country. Most of all, it almost wants you to ignore the title character, seeing him as more of a harbinger, and telling the stories of those left in his wake. Overall, this movie tells an intensely personal story that hits as hard today as it likely did years and years ago. Godzilla, Ishirō Honda, 1954. 4.5 stars. I definitely recommend seeing it. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I do wonder when it was that Godzilla stopped being a metaphor for atomic energy and its destructive power, and he started being a walking lizard that fought other giant animals. Hopefully it was a gradual shift.